Hi, I'm Derek Ashong, and you are now in the stream. Today, some Bahrainis look to disrupt parliamentary elections by creating traffic jams. But will it work? It's a story you've asked us to cover. Our digital producer, Ahmed Shihab Al-Din, is here looking out for your live feedback, as always. Today, he's already got a ton of it. Also joining us on the couch today is Ahmed Yunus, a senior analyst at the Gallup Center for Muslim Studies, and he's with Gallup's Abu Dhabi Center. And we know, Ahmed, that you do a lot of study with young people, and specifically, you've looked at a lot of things with regards to the Arab Spring. Tell us a little bit about how young Bahrainis are looking at the world in the wake of the Arab Spring.
Well, on a domestic front, young Bahrainis are not very satisfied, like the rest of society, with a number of the experiences that they're having, whether it's education or roads or public transportation, etc. But there is some positive outlook. For example, young Bahrainis are saying that there is an increased availability of good quality housing. One of the problems that we have in the Arab world with young people is a problem called waithood. This was written upon by Tariq Youssef, the CEO of Silatech. The Silatech Index is where this data is coming from. Waithood is the period between when you graduate and when you get married and your life kind of looks like your parents' life. Whether you can get a job, whether you can start a business, and whether you want to leave permanently from your country to another country are things that affect your ability to get a house, get married, get the furniture, fall in love and get going like Abu Hamid here wants to do. So that's really important, and young Bahrainis show a high level of optimism for what's about to come in the future, even though what we see on TV doesn't yield a lot of optimism.
This is really, really fascinating, and I'm so glad you're here today because we've got two people representing very different perspectives on what's happening in Bahrain, and hopefully you can help to give us some context on just some of what the data shows. So it's great to have you in effect.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure to be here.
Now, of course, our show today is one that's been requested by many of you in our community. So if you have a story that you want to share, or you've got a comment about what we're covering today, send us a tweet using the hashtag AJStream. We might feature your suggestion right now or in a future episode.
Hi, I'm Chloe. I'm a French journalist and I'm in the stream.
Bahrainis head to the polls this Saturday to fill 18 parliamentary seats. Opposition members resigned those posts en masse following a government crackdown on demonstrators in March. Since that time, Shia villages have witnessed nightly protests. Let's have a look at one of them. This is actually one that we picked because the image is quite interesting and compelling as you see these lights coming down this particular alleyway. Each day, the stream receives videos similar to this one, showing nightly protests which often turn into clashes with security forces. Village members have set up their webcams around communities to record the events and then upload them to YouTube. Now, although Shias make up a majority of Bahrain's population, they complain of discrimination and have been calling for reform. Now, some are demanding an end to the Al Khalifa monarchy. The government did attempt a national dialogue, but that collapsed when the main opposition group, Al-Wafaq, pulled out. The government also funded an independent commission of international human rights lawyers to examine the government's response to the unrest. But many say that it's just not enough. Al-Wafaq is boycotting this weekend's special election, and the February 14th youth movement has called for protests in the form of traffic jams. We actually have some images of that as well. Now, the reality is when we look at an image like this, which is showing some of this traffic on the ground, we can't tell if this is traffic that's been caused by these protests or if, in fact, it is traffic that just happens to be a part of daily life. However, this particular plan is called the Blockade Manama Plan, and activists are hoping that they can disrupt campaigning and the upcoming vote this weekend. The government is pledged to revoke the driver's licenses of anyone caught participating in this action, but organizers are also calling for a return to Pearl Square, the symbolic roundabout where demonstrators first gathered in February before the government raised the square's famed Pearl statue. And if you can look at my screen for a moment, you can have a window into what the before image was and what the after image looked like. So, will the elections this weekend be the beginning of normalization, or will they deepen the national divide? Later in this program, we'll be joined by a spokesperson for Bahrain's government. But first, joining us via Skype is Matar, a former member of Bahrain's parliament with the opposition Al-Wafaq Society. In May, Mr. Matar was kidnapped and tortured by security forces. He was released 98 days later. Matar, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, thanks.
Now, tell us a little bit about your experience since you've been released. We understand that you were held for 99 days, 45 of that in solitary confinement, and you're claiming that you were tortured. Have you met with the independent commission that was set up to address these issues?
Yeah, they visit us at the end, before I was released, they visit us inside. In fact, the most difficult period was at the beginning when I was in solitary confinement. Half of the period I spent it there. I was totally isolated. I spent 3 weeks without any communication. They didn't allow me even to call my family just to tell them that I'm safe and they didn't allow me just to call them because they arrested me from my car by civil armed people. So I wasn't have any idea who they are and where they are going to take me. My wife was with me in the car, so I was worried about her, whether if they arrest her or no. So I was totally isolated. I know anything about outside, and the beginning part, they were questioning us about several things. We didn't have enough time to sleep. They didn't allow us to sleep.
What were some of the things that they were questioning you about?
The questions?
Yes, what kinds of things were you being questioned about?
In fact, I didn't feel that they are trying to get certain data, certain information of me, because many questions were political questions. They were asking me a question about our response to the, for example, the initiative from Crown Prince. How did we react from it, and why they were saying that we were negative. We dealt negative with his proposal. So it was a political issue. I didn't feel that.
This actually brings up a very interesting question. We actually have a lot of questions coming in from our online community that we want to get to, but before we do so, I just want to ask you, because your party, Al-Wafaq, has pulled out of these elections, speaking of politics, do you risk losing political relevance in Bahrain?
Again?
Do you risk losing political relevance given that you are not participating in the special election?
No, I feel the Bahrainis already decided to boycott the election before we announced this statement. So if we were contributing in this election, we are going to build a barrier between us and between those people who trust us and vote for us. I think we are going to lose our credibility if we were contributing in this election.
Okay, so we've got a lot coming in.
Yeah, Matar, we'll give you one question that came in on Facebook. Sarah Mahmoud says, right here, we need to move on. Outsiders think that the opposition is only Shia, but they're wrong. And she says opposition does not always mean calling to overthrow the regime. And she's citing the gathering of national unity, which some say is, a pro-government. They're rallying for the government side. You're calling for a constitutional monarchy. Are there certain voices inside the Al-Khalifa family, like maybe the Crown Prince Salman, that you might want to work with?
Yeah, of course. We would like to work with anyone who believes in democracy and who believes in political reform. And we don't trust anyone from ruling family or from outside the ruling family who is trying to deny that we have a problem, who is trying to ignore all the demands for liberty and for a real political reform. We don't mind to communicate with any side who just announced that he is really believe that Bahrain should move forward for a real political reform.
Well, on that note, just one follow-up question. Justice in Bahrain on Twitter is saying many Shia in Bahrain feel very bad and suffer a lot. As Al-Wafaq is a voice of Hezbollah. They only represent only a small extreme group. So that's his beliefs. But to extrapolate from that, you know, how can you be the main opposition party helping to move the country forward if lots of the people who are, you know, part of the opposition or in the street say that Al-Wifaq doesn't speak for them?
I believe that if Al-Wifaq could reach an agreement with the government to move for a tangible, if we reach such achievement, I believe that many people will accept it. But the problem is that the government currently is in a denial phase. They are refusing to confess that there are Bahrainis, there are a huge portion of the Bahrainis, they are insisting to have a real political reform, and they want to have elected government, and they want to have a legislative council with full authority.
Ahmed, I want to get your thoughts in here because, you know, we're talking about the Bahraini government and what's happening. Has your work given you any insight into the way the next generation feels about their government, whether the existing leadership or opposition?
Well, definitely Bahrain is very similar to all other countries or most other countries that we poll, where young people have significantly more optimism about the future generally than otherwise. What I wanted to do, Derek, is ask Matar a question.
Would that be
absolutely? Because I think it would elucidate a little bit. Matar, why do you think that Gallup's data shows an increase in Bahraini belief that greater interaction with the West is a benefit over this period of discord and discomfort inside of Bahrain? What is the role of the West for the opposition, and how do you explain this data that comes from the people? It does not come from political actors.
Yeah, I think the Western countries, their policies had been changed after the Arab Spring. Before, they were supporting those regimes in the region, and they are talking just about the interest with such regimes. But after the change in Tunisia and in Egypt, their tone had become different. And we are welcome such changes. We are welcome the positive word that comes from Obama, and we want to see a tangible result on the ground based on their statements.
What tangible result?
We don't just want to see statements.
What tangible result? What specific actions would you like to see from the West?
I think the West should not accept the violation that are going and still ongoing in Bahrain. How come United States is calling Bahrain a strategic ally, and we are seeing all these violations for basic human rights here in Bahrain? I would like to have a stronger relation with the United States. My goal is not to boycott. I'm not waiting for the Western countries to put, for example, punishments against Bahrain. I would like to have a stronger relation, but I don't want to see this relation affecting the movement toward democracy. What I want to see is just the opposite.
Matar,
we want to see this relation to reflect on our improvement here.
Matar, thank you for coming to join us and giving us your perspective.
Thanks.
Absolutely. So this